Jungkook sat in his office, finger drumming against the mahogany desk. His eyes narrowed as she watched the security footage on his laptop. Wyan, his wife, was walking into the high-end shopping mall with a friend clutching her purse. His black card hidden inside it. His jaw tightened. She just like the rest, he muttered. From the moment they had been forced into this arranged marriage, he had been watching her. She was too sweet, too kind, and in his world, kindness was a mask. His mother liked her, his sister adored her, his father tolerated her. But Jungkook, he wasn't fooled. Let's see how much of my money she wasted today. He scoffed, leaning back in his chair, because gold diggers always show their true colors eventually. The moment Vine stepped into the luxury mall, her eyes sparkled with excitement. She had never been this eager to shop before. Okay, she clapped her hands together. Let's do this. Her best friend Soha raised and bro. Look, you look like a kid in a candy store. Vine grinned. That's because I kind of am I. She reached into her purse and pulled out a small worn out notebook. Are you seriously taking notes? Soha laughed. Of course. Vine flipped open the pages. Jung-hee loves bold, high-end fashion, but she hates pink. Mom loves soft, delicate things. Maybe a scarf. Dad is always so serious. I think he likes subtle details. Soha shook her head in disbelief. You are really putting your whole heart into this. Vine smiled softly. I just want them to know I care. Her family had never been the affectionate type, but maybe she could find a home here. The hunt begins. The first stop, Dior. Vine finger ran over the luxurious fabrics, a thoughtful expression on her face. Jung-hee would look stunning in this, she murmured, pulling out a red satin gown with a high slit. The moment she imagined Jung-hee in it, confident, radiant, unstoppable, she knew. This was the one. She hugged the dress to her chest, feeling a rush of warmth, one gift down. Next, Chanel for Jungkook's mother. Vine wanted something that felt personal. Her gaze landed on a silk scarf in a soft pastel set, embroidery with delicate pattern. She could already picture the gentle woman draping it over the shoulder. Smiling warmly, she will love it, Vine whispered. She carefully placed it in her bag, 2 gifts down. For Jungkook's father, she took her time. She wandered through the men's section, eyes starting from elegant watches to tailored coat. Nothing felt right until a dark brown leather wallet, simple classic, but the craftsmanship was flawless. Yes, she breathed, running a finger over the smooth leather. This one. 3 gifts down. This one gift she didn't plan to buy. Vine was almost done, but then her feet froze in front of a display. A sleek jet black tuxedo. The cut was sharp, the detail impeccable, her lips parted slightly. Jungkook. She had no reason to buy him a gift. He barely looked at her, barely acknowledged her, and yet she could already picture him in it. Effortlessly powerful, dark, magnetic. A lump formed in her throat. I shouldn't, she whispered, but she did. She handed her own card to the cashier, ignoring Soha smirking. 4 gifts down, the trap she didn't see coming. Vine had no idea about the black card Jungkook had secretly slipped into her purse. She had no clue that the man she was trying so hard to impress had already made up his mind about her. That when she walked into the dining hall later, ready to surprise his family with gift and love, Vine walked into the grand dining hall, heart pounding with excitement. She clutched the shopping bags tightly, her fingers slightly trembling, not from nervous, but from pure anticipation. That's it. Her first real chance to make them smile, to show them that she wasn't just an outsider in this family. for you, she said, handing the Dior bag to Jung-hee. I saw this and instantly thought of you. Jung-hee gasped, pulling out the red satin gown. Oh my god, Wyan, this is beautiful. Wyan beamed. Then she turned to Jungkook's mother, handing her the Chanel scarf. I want to get you something elegant but soft, just like you. The older woman's eyes softened as she traced the delicate fabric. And then to his father, the leather wallet. It felt like you. His father, a man of few words, gave her a small nod of approval. Wyan heart soared. This was worth it. Every second of planning, every moment of excitement. Crash! The sound of a glass shattering against the marble floor ripped through the air. Wyan's breath hitched. Jungkook, his chair scrapped back harshly as they stood. His hand clenched into a tight fist. The entire room fell dead silent. What the hell is this? He spat, his voice sharp and cold. Wyan blinked confused. What? Jungkook let out a dark laugh. Oh, don't play dumb now. Her stomach twisted. What was happening? Jungkook reached for one of the shopping bags on the table, yanked it open. The red Dior gown spilled out. He held it up like evidence in a trial. Did you enjoy spending my money, Wyan? His voice dripped with venom. Wyan froze. The warmth from moments ago vanished. Her lips parted slightly. You didn't even wait. Jungkook cut her off, shaking his head in disgust. The second I let my guard down, you ran straight to the most expensive brand you could find. The air thickened with tension. The humiliation sank in. His mother looked shocked. His father frowned. Junghee's expression twisted into anger. No, Wyan whispered, her voice trembling. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. Jungkook stepped closer, his dark eye burning with rage. I married a gold digger. Wyan's breath hitched. It felt like she had been punched in the stomach. Her vision blurred as the word echoed in her head. Gold digger, gold digger. She looked around the room, searching for anyone who would stop this nightmare. Jungkook took another step, his voice razor sharp. You really had fooled me, you know. He let out a bitter chuckle, acting so innocent, so sweet. His finger clenched around the fabric of the dress. And you had the audacity to pick Dior? He threw the bag on the table. Wow, at least pretend to be subtle. Wyan's legs wobbled. She felt like she was drowning. This was supposed to be a happy moment. This was supposed to be the night she proved herself. Not this. She tried to find her voice. I didn't use your card. She choked out. Jungkook scooped. Don't lie. Her hand shook. I used my own. You used my card. He snapped, cutting her off again. You think I wouldn't notice? Wyan froze. Black card? She clutched her purse with trembling fingers, digging inside, and her blood ran cold. A black, sleek card rested in her wallet. Her breath hitched. No, she had never seen this before. Her stomach turned. Realization crashed over her like a tidal wave. Jungkook had put it there. He had set her up. Her heart shattered. You tested me? She whispered, her voice breaking. Jungkook crossed his arms, his face unforgiving. I had to. The room spun. Her chest ached. This man, her own husband, had been waiting for her to fail. Wyan let out a broken laugh, tears stinging her eyes. Wow, she whispered, voice trembling. Jungkook's jaw clenched, but he said nothing. And then silence. It hurt more than anything. Jungkook suddenly snatched the receipt from one of the bags. Read it. She snapped, moving, shoving it against Jungkook's chest. Jungkook's finger tightened around the paper. His eye scanned the text, and then he stopped breathing. Wyan's credit card. Every single item paid in full. A crushing silence filled the room. Jungkook's heart dropped. He had just... Oh God, what he had done. Wyan let out a broken chuckle, but it wasn't happy. Do you even realize what you have done? She whispered. Jungkook's throat tightened. Her eyes met his, but there was nothing left in them. No warmth, no light, just pain. You think so little of me, she said softly. her voice shaking. Jungkook's hands curled into a fist. Before he could even find the word to fix it, she turned to Junggi, forcing a smile. I hope you love the dress. Then she looked at him one last time. And you know what? Jungkook's chest ached. You don't just test me. She swallowed, her lips trembling. You tested yourself and you failed. Jungkook's heart shattered. She turned her back to him and walked away, leaving him standing in the wreckage he had created. Jungkook sat in the dimly lit study room, the weight of his mistake pressing down on his chest like a crushing boulder. The shattered glass from earlier had been swept away, the dining hall clean of all evidence of the scene he had caused except for the suffocating tension lingering in the air. His finger clenched around the crumpled receipt in his hand. Vian had used her own money, not his, not a single cent. She had poured her heart into those gifts, not out of greed, but out of love. Love for his family, love for him, and what had he done? Destroyed her. Jungkook exhaled shakily, his mind dragging him into the past, back to the moment everything inside him had turned to stone. 3 years ago, the first time Jungkook had ever truly loved. He had been 21, reckless yet hopelessly devoted. Her name was Minji. She was beautiful, charming, and knew exactly how to make him feel like he was the center of a world. For 2 years, he had given her everything, his time, his trust, his heart. But love had been a lie. He could still remember that night, the one that broke him, a text from an unknown number, a blurry photo, Minji wrapped around another man. His blood had turned ice cold, but still, he had held into the hope that there was an explanation. But there wasn't. He had stormed into her apartment, voice hoarse with disbelief. Tell me this isn't real. Minji had just laughed, sipping her wine like he hadn't just caught her, betraying him. Jungkook, she had purred, tilting her head. Don't be so dramatic. Dramatic? The world had shattered, and she had called him dramatic. You said you loved me, he had whispered, voice breaking. Minji had leaned in, her lips curling into something cruel. I love what you gave me. And that was it. The moment everything inside him died. From that night on, he had vowed he never to be fool again, never to trust a woman's sweetness, never to believe in love. Minji had just taught him a brutal lesson, one he had never forgotten. The present Jungkook had fell into his hands, but Wine wasn't Minji. She had never been. She had walked into his world with nothing but kindness and sincerity, and he had torn her apart because of his own demon. He had tested her like a heartless bastard waiting for her to fail, but she hadn't. He had. Jungkook shocked in a shaky breath, his throat burned, his chest tightening with something unbearable. Regret, for the first time in years, it ripped through him like a blade, leaving nothing but a devastating in its wake. And the worst part, when she had looked at him, when she had realized what he had done, there had been no anger in her eyes. Just heartbreak. Jungkook clenched his fist, nails biting into his palm. He had spent so long seeing the worst in people that when someone truly good had come along, he had destroyed her now. Now, he didn't know what if he could ever fix what he had broken. His mother's voice snapped him out of his thought. I didn't raise you to be this cruel. Jungkook flinched. His mother stood in the doorway of his study, arms crossed, disappointment etched into every line of her face. She was trying to make us happy, Jungkook, she continued, her voice laced with disbelief. And you humiliated her. His stomach twisted. You set her up. His mother's voice shook with anger, like she was some criminal you needed to catch. Jungkook clenched his jaw, guilt weighing him down on him. I thought. No, you didn't think. She cut him off. You assumed, and now you broke her. Jungkook had hands curled into fists. He knew all of this. He knew he had destroyed something precious, but hearing it from his mom made it worse. You were so blinded by your past, she whispered, shaking her head, that you couldn't see the woman standing in right front of you. Jungkook swallowed, his throat tight. I needed to fix this, his mother exhaled. Then do it. She stepped closer, her gaze firm. But don't expect it to be easy, because Wine wasn't the type to be fooled twice. The next morning, Wine found a box on her doorstep. Not jewelry, not designer bags, but a warm croissant from her favorite bakery, a book she had once mentioned she wanted to read, a small sticky note attached. I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I need you to know I see you now. She stared at it for a long moment. Then she picked up the croissant and took a small bite. Jungkook, watching from his car across the street, let out a shaky breath. One evening, she found a handwritten letter on her desk. It wasn't a simple apology. It was a confession. Jungkook poured his heart into every word, telling her about Minji, about the scars she had left on him, about how he had let that pain turn him into someone he didn't want to be. But Wine were never like her. I just didn't see it until it was too late. But she didn't say anything after reading it, but the letter wasn't thrown away. Jungkook had destroyed her in front of his family, so he had to make things right in front of them too. And the next family dinner, he stood abruptly, heart pounding. I need to say something. Everyone felt silent. Ryan barely looked at him. Jungkook exhaled. Then he turned to his parents, his sister, and most importantly, to Ryan. I was wrong, he said. Not just wrong, cruel, reckless. I hurt the one person who had never gave me a reason to doubt her. One finger curled against her lap. I was blinded by my past, he admitted, voice shaking, by my own fear, and instead of seeing Ryan for the one who really she is, I saw someone I created in my mind, and I destroyed something beautiful before I could even understood it. He looked directly at her now. I didn't expect you to forgiveness. I don't deserve it. His voice cracked. But I need you to know, Ryan, I see you now, and I will spend every single day proving that I won't stop seeing you. Silence filled the room. Jungkook held his breath. Next day at Business Gala, the Business Gala was in a full swing, the grand hall buzzing with laughter and clicking glasses. Ryan moved gracefully through the crowd, dressed in an elegant black gown that hugged her frame perfectly. She had come because she was expected to, because she was still legally Jungkook's wife, but tonight she wasn't by his side. Jungkook had watched her all evening, his chest tightening. Every time someone spoke to her, every time she laughed at a joke that wasn't his, he had no right to feel this way, not after what he had done. But when one of his business partner, Mr. Koi, leaned in too close, brushing a hand over Ryan's arm, something inside Jungkook snapped from the room. His grip tightened around his whiskey glass. He could hear Koi's voice, smooth, calculated. A woman like you deserve attention, Ryan. Someone who actually see your worth. Ryan took a step back, clearly uncomfortable. But Koi was too persistent. Jungkook's blood boiled. His finger curled tighter around the glass. Then a crack, the whiskey glass shattered in his grip, shards embedding into his skin. Gasps filled the room as crimson dripped into the white tablecloth, but Jungkook didn't feel the pain. His dark eyes were locked into Koi, a silent warning burning in them. And Koi, he paled, quickly stepping away from Ryan. Jungkook didn't speak. He didn't have to. His rage was loud enough. Later that night, Ryan found him in his study room, his wounded hand resting against the desk. You are reckless, she murmured, kneeling in front of him as she pulled out the first aid kit. Jungkook didn't respond. He just watched her, his gaze heavy, intense. She worked in silence, carefully dabbing disinfectant over his knuckles. His jaw clenched slightly, but he didn't flinch. Finally, she spoke. Why did you do that? Jungkook swallowed hard. I couldn't stand it. Wyan frowned. Stand what? His breath came out shaky. Seeing him touch you, she paused, looking up at him. His eyes were dark and vulnerable. I love you, Wyan. His voice broke. I love you so much, it hurts. Her finger froze over his wound. Jungkook exhaled shakily. I was so blind, so afraid of my own past that I ruined the one good thing in my life. His voice cracked, raw with emotion. Don't deserve you, Wyan. I know that, but please, Wyan.